Welcome to the College Football Bros, the podcast with three dreamy hosts. And now, here are your hosts, Michael, Ryan, and Trey Newman.
Welcome to the College Football Bros podcast. I am Michael Newman, and I'm joined by the brother who has no control over his drives.
Oh, God, that's me, Ryan Newman.
And by the other brother who could improve his putting skills.
Absolutely. Always could improve that. Trey Newman.
You seemed reluctant to admit it,
Yeah.
but all right.
No.
On today's episode,
it's a legit criticism.
Oh, maybe you get too close to home. Anyway, today's episode, we are going to cover some good news and bad news that's come out the last week. And then together, we're all going to create the College Football Bros 2020 Dream Team. We have a 5-star review.
Yes, we do. From Ohio State fan 101. He says, "Go Buckeyes" is his title. He says, "I am sad for the Big Ten, but I had an idea of all conferences going into their own bubble, playing conference only. What do you guys think?"
I mean, I wish a bubble was a little bit more feasible in college football. It's proving to work. The NBA, NHL, MLS did the same, but just the logistics of it seemed too much. Coordinating a spot for 10 to 14 teams full of 100 players plus coaches, and they're going to be away from families for a couple months. It just doesn't seem too realistic. And then you have to have a location where there's enough like fields or stadiums to play. You need at least 4 or 5, I would say, in order to play on a weekend. And they need a bunch of testing, places to eat, activities,
money,
places to study and attend virtual classes. Yeah, lots of money. I would love it, and it's seeming like it would work, but it just doesn't seem too feasible at this point.
Okay. Thanks for the review. We also got an email about Mike Gundy, and it says, "Bros, my name is Brian, and I'm a graduate of Oklahoma State University. I love my school and my home state, but I will admit that there are times when the school and football team drive me insane. But at the end of the day, I'll always support them." We know a little bit about that with Nebraska.
Yeah.
I've got a question for your next podcast. Back in April, Gundy said that the season should be played, and from what I gathered, he got trashed by the media for it. We fast forward a few months, and the Big 12, SEC, and ACC are making plans to play the season, while the Big 10 and Pac-12 aren't. Needless to say, people seem pretty happy that the season is somewhat still going to happen, and Justin Fields even started a petition to have the Big 10 play this year. Yet we don't see/hear much criticism about people wanting to play now. Why do you think Gundy took so much heat back in April, and yet 4 months later, schools are making plans to play this fall? Thanks for your time, Brian. So what do you think, Ryan?
Well, it seems like the argument is kind of the same, but if you got to take yourself back to April. I think that's kind of the main deal when Gundy was saying those things. Like, April was when we were about as high alert as ever for this pandemic. March Madness had just been canceled, and really not a ton of people. Everybody was disappointed by that, but like nobody was really like up in arms saying like, how could they have made that decision? They shouldn't have canceled NCAA. I mean, I'm sure there were a few, but like the vast majority was like, we get it, So that was just kind of the time where everybody just was on that mindset. So Gundy saying that during then wasn't ideal. And then he also just had some really strong like takes. I mean, he went a little far with it, kind of accusing the media of being super negative, saying, they needed to get back so that they could get the money flowing into the state.
That was the big quote. There was a few things, but that was the big one.
Yeah. And then, of course he had the incident with he ended up clearing it up, but he had that OAN shirt or whatever. And some issues going on there, but I really think it was just the time frame. So, now, I guess comparing it to now, so even though we're kind of even in a worse place with the pandemic, I mean, it's more widespread than it was back then.
Yeah, there's less. There. Yeah. It's we're having a little second spike. That's for sure. I shouldn't say we're having a second spike.
It's not like it's gone away at all. It's definitely out there. I think people are just not as high of alert, and they're more, I guess, maybe just getting used to it a little bit. But I don't know. For the whole people getting on one side or the other, I'm not educated enough to make the decision on whether it's, safe to play or not. And I would argue about 99% of us are probably in the same boat. So I just don't think it's like on my best interest to come out and say like, oh, the Big Ten and Pac-12 are idiots for not playing. Just like I can't say, the Big 12, Pac-10 are correct for not playing. So it's just all I know is I want to watch football. I love football, so I'm disappointed it's not going to happen. But I'm not going to get up in arms either way.
No, yeah, we're all obviously bummed. I don't know if that came through as much as we, I guess, wanted in last episode, but it sucks that the Big Ten and Pac-12 aren't going to play this.
We literally do a college football podcast. We love the content.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into some good news first before we get to the bad news. A saliva-based COVID-19 test developed at Yale received approval from the FDA on Saturday, and the test is more accurate than any current saliva test. It's expected to be cost-effective, around, I guess, less than $20, and the results could potentially be available in as short as a few hours. So what do you think? You think this is gives us hope for, I don't know, the fall season or the spring season? What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I don't want to come across here as pessimistic, but I don't think it's enough to save the season, at least for sure in the fall. I mean, maybe come springtime, but obviously one of the biggest challenges is getting the players tested and enough, and have it be at a reasonable cost so that these schools could afford it. So this new test, it's very encouraging, especially for the general public. But I think it's a little bit more than just the testing that's going to save football. I mean, it's still the liability. They don't want a player to get it and have complications and potentially sue. The conferences aren't admitting that, but the writing's kind of on the wall. And besides, even though it is a great test, it's still just a test. It's not going to do anything to minimize the risk of contracting COVID. So there's still going to be a bunch of players in close proximity, as well as some of the student body on campus. So I love the test factor, but as far as it's saving the season, I don't see that at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing. The fact that it's not like it doesn't prevent anything. I mean,
it can help limit a spread.
It can help limit a spread for sure. But I mean, are these tests going to be every single day? I don't think they would be every single day. So I mean, if you go a couple days, maybe it moves around. I don't know, but I just don't think it's enough. I mean, so soon, like we're here, football time.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing is I haven't seen. I tried to look into it and I didn't see a timeline as to when this test could be available. At the universities. It seems, just guessing, it seems pretty quick to be able to have it available within the next few weeks or so. But maybe the spring. I don't know. That I know spring season a lot of people think is unlikely anyway, but if you can get testing like this, that at least improves the chance.
Yeah, that's the thing. It helps for the case for spring.
Okay, on to the bad news, unfortunately. The NCAA has canceled all fall championships. The decision doesn't affect FBS football because the NCAA doesn't run the college football playoff, but NCAA Chief Medical Officer Brian Hainline said, right now, if testing stays as it is, there's no way we can go forward with sports. And at OU, after 2 weeks of 0 positive tests, they had 9 players test positive for COVID-19. This came after Lincoln Riley gave the players the week off, but that also coincided when other students arrived on campus. And then finally, at the University of North Carolina, they made a move to go to all online instruction for undergrads after 130 students tested positive in the first week since classes began.
And I think Notre Dame just got added to that list.
Did Notre Dame as well?
And Michigan State.
Michigan State, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts on that?
On what now?
Well, all that news
going all online. Them going online, I think we kind of already prefaced it at the beginning saying it's bad news, man. It's bad news. You can't. I don't know how you can have all online classes while still holding just for football. To me, it seems like it's got to be safe for all the students to be at the school. If it's not, I don't see how they can realistically have football.
Well, I mean, that's
Yeah, I
one
mean, we've
argument.
talked about it before. The argument.
Go ahead.
Go
Trey.
ahead, Mike.
Okay.
All
Are
right,
we
so-
on a big delay here? What's going on? Anyway, what I was going to say is it is a tough sell. I'll say that it's a tough sell if let's just say every college went all online except they were allowing the athletes to stay on campus. It's a
Mhm.
tough sell to say, oh, are they just regular students? All the other students are at home. But of course, we know they aren't regular students. At least that's not the way they're treated by the schools. So it might actually make it safer if all the students are taking classes online, not as many students on campus. Then you do get a little bit of that bubble for the athletes that are on campus, because before these students have come, there's a lot of schools that have been doing a good job of having zero positive tests, or at least minimal.
Yeah, no, a
positive
lot of them
tests.
had been doing well for sure.
Yeah, so if students aren't going to be coming to campus as much as we thought, maybe that's a good sign for football. I don't know. Obviously, it's bad news, but I'm just kind of looking at the implications.
I feel like there could also be an argument from the side of like the students that aren't able to attend, but yet the athletes are able to be on school campus. Like there would be I would think there would be some little bit of outcry from those non-athletes, like say, well, why can't we be on campus and get in-person instruction like the athletes? I don't know, just one side of the thing. I hope they do.
Well,
it.
they'd still be taking classes online. The students,
No, I
or
hear you.
the athletes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess the one thing though that out of all of this is bad news, and it just sucks, and it never seems like we really get good news. But it is like pretty telling that the NCAA blatantly said that if all other athletes, they deeming it not safe for them to play, then it seems a little harder to comprehend the football players playing. But I'm not a doctor. Like, hey, maybe it's feasible. Let's make it happen. Let's roll it out and maybe at least try it and see what happens. But it just sucks. All the bad news. It just never gets better.
I know. Okay, well, let's we're past that now. Let's ignore that bad news for now, I guess. So we're gonna create a dream team. So we're gonna build this team together. The goal is to just create the best team possible for this upcoming season, and we're gonna include the Pac-12 and Big Ten, just because at least the plan for now is that they'll play in the spring. And for this exercise, we're not necessarily going to choose the best available player every time, because we're trying to build a real team. So you might, maybe you already have a workhorse back, so then the next guy wants to take a third down back, something like that. So let's do it. Let's start with a head coach. Trey, who's going to be our head coach?
All right, so I'm going to lead us off with, I want my team
James
to have
Franklin.
No, I know it was too easy. You guys could have easily predicted that. James Franklin or Dan Mullen. Good options, but no, I'm going to go, I want to sell this team. I want people to watch. Lincoln Riley will be our head coach. Fun to watch. And since it's only this season, I'm not really focused on, a program builder or a leader like, Saban or Dabo. I want someone who's really hands-on with a unit and on the team. So we're going to have Lincoln Riley.
All right.
Oklahoma's coach.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Ryan, that makes your offensive coordinator pick
I know.
not quite as important.
I know. I'm like, well, it's just moot. I guess my guy will just be, I don't know.
He'll help him
There as a
out.
figure. Not really that important. But my OC, I was going to go with Graham Harrell at USC now.
Mhm.
If you go back a year, I mean, USC's offense was bad. I mean, they were not good under T. Martin, 84th in total offense in 2018. And they jumped up all the way to the top 20 last year. And, need I remind you, both the years they had true freshman quarterbacks. So it wasn't like Harrell was given a, significant edge over T. Martin. So, yeah, I think Harrell came in as I think he's a up and comer. He'll be a head coach in no time.
Yeah, it is crazy because I was looking at this too as who would I choose as offensive coordinator? And even as a USC fan, I didn't go into it thinking, oh yeah, Graham Harrell might be the best offensive coordinator in the country.
I know.
But when you look at it, he's got an argument for sure. It
kind of surprised me how it came up to that. I was expecting something else, but all these good offenses, like, you go to OU, it's because of Lincoln Riley. You know, it's just like
Ohio State, Ryan Day.
Ryan Day.
All the great offensive coaches.
Yeah.
You get a head coaching job really quickly. So that's, I think, the reason why there aren't a ton of proven great OCs right now. Okay. Defensive coordinator. This one is pretty easy. Brent Venables of Clemson, just year after year. And right now we don't know the players that are going to be on the team on this defense, but it doesn't matter. No matter who Brent Venables loses, he adjusts, and they're always a top 5 defense. So he is the DC. Let's get to the players then. We got quarterbacks. So let's take 3 quarterbacks.
Okay. I'll lead us off then. With Lincoln Riley and Graham Harrell, my quarterback's gonna succeed no matter who it is. Like, you could roll me out there and I think I'd be a finalist. But no, I'm gonna go Justin Fields, Ohio State. It's quarterback. I mean, they're gonna use his dual threat ability really well. With these minds on offense, I just wanted a quarterback that's versatile and can scare defenses with the arm and legs.
Okay, I agree with that sentiment, and which is why I'm also going to take Trevor Lawrence. He can do it as well.
It's an easy one too.
I mean, he proved he can run as well. Maybe even better than Fields last year. I mean, I know Fields was limited, but yeah. Anyways, Lawrence is those were the easy 2. So now the third one, Mike, that one's the interesting choice.
Exactly. So we're set with those 2 guys. Like, those are the 2 best quarterbacks in the country. They can do it all. I don't need to be safe here. I don't have to just take a Sam Howell or something like that. What's that?
Mikael Cunningham.
I'm not going to take them, but sort of along those lines, I'm taking someone who we can put in maybe a package for him and a Wildcat package, maybe some trick plays. De'Aaron King of Miami. I just chose the best athlete. He's not the 3rd best quarterback, but we've already got 2 studs, so
sure
we can use his skill set.
Yeah, get some use out of him. That's good. I like it.
Okay, moving on to running backs. Ryan, who's the first running back we're taking?
To me, this was between 2 guys. But I'll just say my guy here. I'm going with Travis Etienne. I think he is the best. He's got the combination of everything that you want. He's extremely fast. He's got good strength. Led the nation in yards per carry, and then 2 straight years he's gone over 1,600 yards. And I mean, he could have easily got way more than that if they would have just given him a little more carries. He has very low usage, but I guess why wear him down when you're up by 30?
Exactly. Okay, so you've got I got the second pick for us here. You got an every down back there.
Yeah,
we're set with Travis Etienne, and I'm going to leave Trey. He can take another, All-American type guy. I'm going to go a little bit further down the list, a guy that can fill a role. I'm going with Max Borghi from Washington State.
Oh yeah.
So, 3rd and long, 3rd and medium, he can help in pass protection and obviously catch it out of the backfield. That's the big reason I'm taking him. 86 receptions last year, almost 600 yards. And it's not like, he's a good runner too, 6.4 yards per carry.
He is.
Breaks a lot of tackles. He's going to be a role player for us.
He's shifty, fast. I like him. Now we're eliminating like the Mac, right? We're no Mac here.
No, you can take anyone.
Oh, anyone, I can take anyone. All right.
Yeah, the other thing is we're not taking players that have already announced.
Taking Jared Patterson.
Yeah, we're not taking players that have announced they're sitting out the season.
Yeah, so the marquee guy left is probably Chuba Hubbard. He's a workhorse, reliable, but I wanted to give some love to
Najee
someone
Harris.
else. True. I wanted to give some love to someone else, and Ryan, you got Jarrett Patterson of Buffalo. He just doesn't get a lot of love, but he is graded very well as one of the top running backs in most metrics, including Pro Football Focus. He's perfect for our system because actually Pro Football Focus actually has him as the best running back in run pass options. And so with Lincoln Riley, we'll definitely be doing that. Graham Harrell. He had over 300 carries last year. And as Ryan's well aware, in one game, he led the NCAA with 6 touchdowns in a game last year and 298 yards in a game.
Was that the game where he had, I was going up against you in fantasy and I had Jarrett Patterson? I think
that was last year. I don't really remember.
I All right. Wow, that's an interesting running back core, but Trey and I went a little different,
Off the
but
radar.
Yeah,
it's
come
good. I
on.
like it. Yeah. So no Chuba Hubbard, Oklahoma State, no Najee Harris, Alabama, but
That Oklahoma State fan's gonna kill us.
oh yeah.
Hey, no, he's worthy. He would have been a legit
Yeah.
pick.
We had our every down back, so went a little different. But okay. Wide receivers, we're gonna take 4. And my first pick here is Jamar Chase from LSU. I just think he's the best receiver in the country. And with Joe Burrow, obviously he was great last year, but when he threw to Chase, he didn't really have to be great. He could just put it anywhere in the vicinity and he would adjust. He would, catch it at its highest point. He was incredible.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Obvious pick. Okay, second pick. I got Devontae Smith staying in the SEC, Alabama. He's so quick. His after the catch ability is second to none. I mean, he actually produced more yards after catch than CeeDee Lamb did last year, which was kind of surprising to me. And I also love him because of what he did on a stacked receiving core last year. Remember that he had Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy. They both went to the NFL this year, first round, second round picks. Like, if that was for him to put up the production he did with those guys on the team, pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I feel like not a lot of people realized that he led Alabama in receiving yards last year.
I did because he was also on my fantasy team. But yeah,
Okay. Excellent.
All right.
All right. Who's the third pick, Ryan?
I want to take Rondale Moore. But I can't. He's sitting out. He'd be the perfect complement. He's the So, okay. I guess I'll pick Tylan Wallace. If he didn't get hurt, he would have likely have 2 straight years over 1,300 yards. And go back 2 years ago, he led the nation with the most 20-plus yard catches. So he can take the lid off the top of the defense and open things up for the underneath guys, make your offense that much better. So Tylan Wallace he's awesome. So I'll take him as my number 3.
Okay, so we got Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and Tylan Wallace. I'm between 2 guys right now. I'm between Tutu Atwell from Louisville and Jalen Waddle at Alabama. I think I'm just going to go with Waddle. I mean, he's the perfect fit as a slot receiver. I think he's the best slot receiver in college football. Insanely fast. I think he's arguably the best player in the open field in college football. I think he's a good fit.
Yeah. There's a lot of good options at receiver, man.
There are. Yeah. Daz
Tamion
Newsome,
Terry.
North Carolina. What'd you say, Ryan?
Tamion Terry.
Yeah, Tamarian Terry, Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
George Pickens, Georgia. A lot of guys. Sage Surratt, Wake Forest.
SC's got a couple.
Yeah, that's right. We do.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Tight ends. Who's our first tight end, Trey? We'll take 3.
I'm staying in the Big 12 for mine right here. Charlie Kohler. He one of Brock Purdy's favorite targets. 51 catches last year as a sophomore. He was all Big 12. He actually led Iowa State in receiving touchdowns, and we're just going to post him up. He's got a 6'6", 250-pound frame. I think he's only going to improve in his junior year.
And all those touchdowns came against Big 12 teams.
Okay, good pick. I'm going to take Pat Freiermuth, Penn State. He's a potential first-round pick. Great pass catcher, solid blocker. He's got to be one of the 3.
Yeah, Freiermuth was. I thought you were going to take this other guy at 2, but I'll happily take him. Kyle Pitts,
from
Florida. I mean, he's kind of the Darren Waller of. He's kind of got the same build as Waller. He led Florida in receptions last year with 54. He's got the 6'6" height too. He's just that prototypical receiving tight end in today's game, and even he's a chance at a first-round pick himself. He's in a lot of first-round mock drafts, so there's some good tight ends coming in this year.
Yeah, because there were, I think, maybe 5 guys I considered for this. Got Brant Keithy at Utah was another guy, and then Brevin Jordan at Miami.
Yeah.
Good group. It's a really good group.
Great group of guys.
Okay, offensive line. We'll start with the tackles. Let's take 2 starters and a backup.
Okay,
You
this
go
is
first,
the easy
Ryan.
one of the day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Don't even need to mention it.
Yeah, Oregon offensive lineman Penei Sewell. He was just the highest rated Pro Football Focus tackle ever last year. He was like 95.5, top 5 pick for sure. I mean, he's the best lineman in America. There's really no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, he would have been a top pick this past
Yeah.
year if he could have
Easy.
gone. All right. So that was the slam dunk of the group. I'm gonna go with Samuel Cosme of Texas.
He's good.
He could have gone pro as well last year. He opted to come back. He was rated very high by Pro Football Focus. Last year, he only allowed 1 sack on 595 pass block snaps. It's pretty good rate.
And Ellinger is
bad.
known to hold on to the ball for a little while.
True.
Okay. All right. Well, then our backup tackle is going to be Alex Leatherwood from Alabama. Didn't give up a sack last year at left tackle. And the reason I like him as a backup here is he used to be a guard, so he's got the versatility if someone else
Yes.
goes down.
Yep. Fair.
Okay, moving on to guards. We're guards. First pick here, not quite as easy as Penei Sewell, but pretty easy. Wyatt
easy.
Davis from Ohio State, first team All-American last year. Don't see why he wouldn't do the same this year.
He didn't even allow a hit on the quarterback last year.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad, man.
That is good.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go with now it's where it gets a little shaky about who is the second guy. But I'm gonna go with a Trojan, Michael. I'm gonna take Elijah Vera Tucker. He only allowed 1 pressure last year on the pass block attempts. So I mean, USC is definitely lucky to have him back. He's gonna anchor that offensive line for a great looking offense. So he would be my left guard. Wyatt's, I think, was a right guard, and I think Elijah is a left. So
another that's Elijah Vera Tucker, another swing guy, because he's gonna play likely left tackle for USC this year, so he can play guard or tackle.
I thought he was gonna do that, but he's a guard, man. He's gonna be.
He was pretty good at guard.
Yeah, he's a pro guard in the NFL. He's gonna be a guard.
All right, so we've got a couple good pass protectors. I'm going to go with a guy that can help establish the run, and I'm going to Air Force.
Nice.
Nolan Laufenberg.
Yeah,
he's one of the best run blockers out there. Obviously, considering when you're at Air Force, you're going to run the ball. But with our elite stable of running backs, these guys are going to love running behind him. And I kind of read up about him. It's pretty amazing. He's really athletic, and I love that for my offensive lineman. He played 3 sports in high school. He played basketball, baseball, and football. So we've got an athlete on the line.
All right, I like it. Okay, how about center? You're up first, Ray.
I'll take it. Yeah, sticking with Oklahoma on this one. Creed Humphrey.
Oh, yeah.
He's projected to be a first, maybe at worst a second round pick. He's been one of the best all around centers in his career. Hasn't given up a sack in his career. I know he's had some great quarterbacks behind him, but still remarkable. And I think that's over. They said it was over 900 pass attempts. So pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. Lincoln Riley, since his freshman year, has been singing his praises. He's ridiculous.
Yeah. He's got a good name too.
Been hype.
Creed Humphrey. I like that name.
Well, back in 2018, I think that's when he was a freshman, right? Because he was a sophomore last year. So
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was playing with all those upperclassmen, and when OU had that insanely good line, and I mean, he was elite. And then last year, he took a little bit of he wasn't as good quite as last year. I mean, he was still good, but not quite 2018. But can't blame him for all the talent he had around him. All right, my guy. I'm gonna look to BYU. James Empey. Pro Football Focus actually had him first in pass blocking and third in run blocking the last 2 years. So he's elite in both categories. Nobody really knows who he is. I'm sure that's the first time you guys maybe have heard of his name. It was the first time I did too. I'm not saying I knew him before I did some research. Couldn't come up with BYU center, but yeah, he's supposedly a real good one.
Okay, cool. Great offensive line there. Let's move on to the defensive line. And we have a lot of good defensive ends to choose from. Who'd you take first, Ryan?
Yeah, this one was tough. But I'll go Kayvon Thibodeau. I just feel like he could take that leap. From
Oh yeah.
most of the other guys, you kind of know what you're going to get. And I guess for Thibodeau, you know what you're going to get at least. You know you're going to get a very good player, but he could take that next step. Last year he had 9 sacks, 14 and a half tackles for loss as a true freshman. But he's just got everything you want. He's got the size, he's got the speed. So I think he's
5-star guy.
5-star guy. He's got pedigree. I mean, he could be the next Chase Young of impact.
Yeah, he has a Clowney like potential too. So yeah,
and most of Thibodeau's production last year, most of his sacks were towards the end of the season. Obviously, that Pac-12 championship, he was dominant against Utah. So he's
getting better and better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was green at the beginning, but he got better. Yeah, he'll be green. Solid.
All right. Oregon.
A little stretch, but I'll give it to you. All right, I'm gonna go the opposite coast. Quincy Roche of Miami. He was the grad transfer from Temple. 19 tackles for loss, 13 sacks last year. He had a high pressure rate. His pressure rate, that statistic, actually matched Chase Young last year. He without Rousseau this year playing, who's sitting out, like Roche could be just really dominant for that Canes D line.
Yeah, and stepping up from Temple to Miami, AAC to ACC.
Sure,
it's not. There could be bigger steps up. He'll still be great.
Pretty close.
All right, we got Thibodeau, Roche, third here. I'm gonna take this. This was tough because those I thought were somewhat clear top 2. You could argue. I'm going to go with Carlos Basham Jr.
Yeah, I was going to say Basham was right there for me too.
From Wake Forest. He 6'5", 275, and he made Bruce Feldman's annual list of athletic freaks. So he's got the speed, he's got the strength. Last year he had 57 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, 3 passes defended, 3 forced fumbles. He fills up the stat sheet.
A guy that big, that's impressive. Yep.
Okay, let's go to the interior of the line. I've got the first choice. Pretty easy one. I'm going Marvin Wilson from Florida State. He could have been a first-round pick if he went last year. It's definitely was a surprise that he came back. So he'll be dominant for Florida State.
Yep, absolutely. So we've kind of talked about some good pass rushers on the end, and now Michael, you going with Wilson. I want more of a run stopper. Tyler Shelvin of LSU kind of fits that mold. He was rated as one of the top run defenders last year. He might have been the most productive lineman for LSU's championship team last year. He draws lots of double teams from O-line, and he still excels. So I'm going with Shelvin.
Big dude.
Yeah, it's a big guy. All right, so you guys took a couple of big guys there. Really, Shelvin's the huge guy, but I'm gonna go with Jalen Twyman from Pitt.
I think he's sitting out this year.
He just opted out. He just opted out.
Yeah.
Well, good thing I have another guy.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Levi Onwuzurike.
Onwuzurike, yeah.
Onwuzurike, yeah, I was terrible at that. From UW. Because he's kind of got the he can play both spots. He really, I mean, he's been a dominant force for the Huskies the past couple of years, but he can play the nose tackle, which actually is probably his best position. He was graded out better there. He's good against the run and the pass. So yeah, Onwuzurike.
Okay,
maybe Twyman will opt back in since he can play on our team.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Right.
Linebackers. Who is the first outside linebacker, Trey?
Well, linebacker obviously took a hit when we couldn't take Micah Parsons. He's sitting out, but still lots of good options. I'm going to Corvallis, Oregon State's Hamika Rashid. He had a huge year. I had fun watching him on some of the late Pac-12 games last year. He led college football with 22 and a half tackles for loss. He added 14 sacks. And even on a poor Oregon State team that didn't even go bowling, he was second team All-American. On a more, high profile team, you would think he'd be on the first team. But either way, he's a stud. He's going to get in the offensive backfield for us. I'm taking Rashid.
I would have taken the same pick. Second here, feel like we've got a good amount of pass rushers between Thibodeau, Roche, now Hamika Rashid. I'll go Nick Bolton from Missouri. He's more of a, I mean, he's very productive just all around, but he's more of a coverage guy. He had 8 passes defended, 2 interceptions last year. He's considered maybe the best coverage linebacker in the country.
Okay, good stuff. I'm between 2 guys here. I'll say I got Charles Snowden from Virginia, big dude,
Tall.
and yeah, 6'6", and Chaz Surratt, believe it or not, from
Okay,
UNC.
hey, why don't you not go with Surratt?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go with Charles Snowden.
Okay, Snowden then.
Yeah, Charles Snowden, man, he's a beast. 72 tackles last year, 5 sacks. He's gotten a lot better each year, which is what I like. So he's I don't know, he's a big time player that not, I guess, maybe enough people know about. But he's a big time player and he's looking at a high draft pick himself. So plus he's so big, man. He's a scary linebacker.
Okay, let's move to the inside. And Ryan, you have the first pick. We're going to take 2 inside linebackers here. I guess we're running 4-3 or who knows?
Who knows? Just it's whatever team we want. It's our team.
Yeah, we got enough talent.
We're going 5-2 here. All right, I'm gonna go with Patty Fisher from Northwestern.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's been there forever. Feels like
He has been.
Yeah, but he's just a tackling machine. I want a guy that's gonna make sure my defense is all good to go, lined up. I want a leader. He's been there before. It'll be his 4th year, and he's played a ton, over 300 tackles in his career. So I trust Patty Fisher in the middle.
Okay, I was expecting somebody else, so now I'm in a pickle. So the reason I asked you not to take Chaz Surratt was because I was planning on taking him here as our second inside linebacker.
He's a great story.
A great story because he, of course, started
awesome.
his career as a quarterback. Last year, switched to linebacker, and first year, 115 tackles, 15 tackles for loss.
Ridiculous.
Just insane. Like, and as a quarterback, he was, of course, not at all an NFL prospect.
Wrong hand.
Now he's
he did. What was it? He did the push throw. That's what he did.
Oh yeah, that's right. He had a very
Big
low
fail.
light play
Yeah.
where he basically tried to chest pass
Yeah.
the ball as quarterback, and it just went straight to the defender for a pick six, I think. Anyway, things have gotten a lot better.
Yeah,
for
turn
Surratt.
around for him. Yeah.
Wow.
Mac Brown made the right choice switching positions. But the other guy, though, I see was Dylan Moses from Alabama, just a freak athlete, former 5-star recruit. I guess, I like Chaz Surratt, so I'll say, since we're only taking 2 middle inside linebackers, and Moses has the health concerns, I'll go Chaz Surratt from North Carolina.
Awesome.
There you go.
Okay, time for the secondary, and here's another. It seems like we say this every time, easy picks, but
Yeah.
if Micah Parsons were healthy, he would have been an easy pick too. But at corner, Derek Stingley at LSU is an obvious first pick. As a true freshman last year, he was already the best corner in the country. Just no need to explain this one.
Yeah, he's incredible. That's crazy how he outshined like other like first round picks in his own backfield.
Yeah.
It's crazy that he has to stay for another year after this.
I know. I was looking. You go to the mock drafts, and it's like, oh yeah, Stingley can't even come out yet.
No,
he seems to be one of those generational talents at corner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. After the first one, it gets a little less obvious, but I do have one here. Sean Wade from Ohio State. He improved a ton the past couple years. He's a really good tackler, which Stingley's more of a true cover guy. Another guy that can bring the wood a little bit. Sean Wade's that guy. So just a long line of corners now going on at Ohio State. They churn them out a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have. I'm going to go with another Oregon defender to add to Thibodeau, Javon Holland. He's regarded as maybe the top slot corner in the country. 2 years ago, he led the country in interceptions when guarding the slot. And he was just one of the best players on a great Oregon defense last year that won the Rose Bowl. So we're going to welcome Holland to our team.
Okay, that makes safety a little easier too, because he's safety. He can play defend the slot as a corner. He's versatile. So let's go to safety, and Trey, you got the first pick again.
Oh yeah, I'll snake back. Well, you mentioned the word versatile, and I want a versatile guy here at safety. I'm gonna go Paris Ford of Pitt. He's known for being a hard hitter. He's feared in the ACC. I love that with my safeties. He led the Panthers in tackles, interceptions, first team All ACC, and he can defend in coverage. He was second on the team in passes defended, so he can do it all. Kind of Swiss Army knife back there at safety.
All right. Good call there. All right. You say a guy Paris Ford who can kind of bring the wood a little bit. I want a guy that's gonna, just get those interceptions, man. I need a guy that's a ball hawk. I'll take Andre Cisco from Syracuse. He's got 12 interceptions in the 22 games he's played. That's just a staggering number right there. Over 60 tackles both of these seasons that he's played. He had 65 last year, but it was just he only played 9 games. So I mean, if he played all 12, he would have pushed 90, maybe 100. Depending on how he did. So yeah, I'll take the pick machine, Cisco.
Okay, so last pick here at safety. I was planning on taking Hamza Nasruddin from Florida State just because he can, I figured we'd have a bunch of great corners that could pretty much play man-to-man. So we could have Nasruddin. He can play closer to the line of scrimmage. He had over 100 tackles last year. He's basically a hybrid linebacker. But Trey Paris Ford can lay the wood. So he's a tackle machine too. So I think that maybe fills that need a little bit. So I'll go coverage. I'll go Trayvon Moehrig from TCU. He had 11 passes defended and 4 interceptions last year. So between him and Andre Cisco, we got some ball hawks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I considered Jacoby Stevens in this list too, but from LSU.
Yeah, from LSU.
But he's, he's a lay the wood guy for sure. He's huge.
And at corner, some other guys I consider at least Patrick Surtain. We didn't bring him up, right? From Alabama.
Yeah. He was right there.
Elijah Molden at UW.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Special teams, 1/3 of the game. Who's our kicker, Ryan?
We're going to go with Mr. Skiba, Nick Skiba from good old Wake Forest. The second Wake guy we've mentioned on this list. Second. You did say Chaz Surratt was honorable-ish mention.
No, Chaz Surratt, North Carolina.
Chaz Surratt, North Carolina.
Sage Surratt.
Surratt. Yeah.
Oh, Sage Surratt. Yeah.
Wrong
Okay.
Surratt. Excuse me.
Yeah. Sage Surratt, Carlos Basham.
Yeah.
Now Nick Skiba.
Nick Skiba. So, other than forgetting to run out on the field one time, he's pretty spotless record as a kicker. 24 out of 25 field goals last year and hasn't missed an extra point in his career 97 times. So, it's really hard to go against a guy like that.
Okay. I will take a punter. I'm taking the reigning Ray Guy Award winner, Max Duffy from Kentucky. First in the country last year, 48.1 yards per punt. And the crazy thing, half of them inside the 20. That's
wow. He's been awesome.
Most importantly, also, he's Australian. Got to have an Australian punter.
They just have such
Aussie
a
rules.
program down there, man. Nebraska got a Australian punter now.
It's the way of the world now.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at the more fun side of special teams. The kick returner. Ryan, I know you have punt returner. We could probably take the same guy here. I'm probably going to steal him right from underneath you.
No,
but I'm going Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle. I mean, just put on his film in the Iron Bowl, and like we talked about earlier, him in the open field is just. He might be the best in college football. I think you mentioned that earlier, Michael. Like he just in that Iron Bowl, he looked like the best player on the field. I know he can return punts too, Ryan. Sorry. But he on kick returns, he averaged an insane 35 yards per. So he's a threat to score every time he's got the ball. So
yeah, I'm still taking him for punt returning.
Oh wow. So he's our slot receiver, he's our kick returner, and our punt returner.
That's what he does anyways. So
I know that's true.
Yeah. It's not like we're playing him tight end and wide receiver. I gotta go Jalen Waddle. He's by far the best punt returner in the country. It's not even close. 24 yards per attempt. Like that's more crazy than the 35 kick return yards.
Who was the BC guy? There was a Boston College guy. I think he led actually in return yards, but he didn't. wasn't electric. Gosh, I can't
I
remember.
know.
his
I
name
know
right
from
now.
Iowa, Amir Smith-Marsette's a great return guy.
Yeah. He's
Oh
good.
yeah, he is.
Forgetting the BC guy right now.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna look him up.
Yeah,
Okay, it's not Kobe White, right? He doesn't.
he's good.
He's not the
though.
returner.
Is he the returner?
All right. Well, as Trey looks it up, I will thank the listeners for downloading the College Football Bros podcast. Thanks to everyone watching on YouTube. Help us out. We're trying to grow the podcast in both venues. So if you do watch on YouTube, like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. That is liking. So do that twice, I guess. No, comment though. That helps us out as well. And as far as the podcast, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
It was Travis. No, I might butcher his name. It's either Levi or Levy. I can't remember, but I remember seeing him a couple times, and he was always just returning left and right. Granted, the teams were scoring on Boston College, so he'd get the opportunities. But
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Again, thanks for listening. And I'm getting married this upcoming weekend, so we're gonna be recording another podcast this week that will release next week. So hopefully, no big news happens then, because I'm gonna take the week off after the wedding. But I'll talk to you in a couple weeks when I'm a married man. I'm joining Trey and Ryan.
wow, moving on up.
All right. See ya.
You've been listening to the College Football Bros. If you have any questions for the next podcast, email them to collegefootballbros@gmail.com. To keep up with the brothers on social media, like them on Facebook at College Football Bros, follow them on Instagram at College Football Bros, and for their commentary on Saturdays, follow them on Twitter at CFB Bros. Thanks for listening.